Hello, dear students. Today we will learn a new poem from your textbook, Going to Buy a Book. So take page number 152. This is a very short poem, which is very simple poem. You can grasp the meaning very easily. Going to Buy a Book is a poem which stresses the importance of reading. Okay, so let's look. One day, grandfather gave my brother and me some money. Go and buy books, he said. We were both very happy. We both loved to read. So, a grandfather gave some money to siblings, a brother and a sister. So they both loved to read books and they were happy to get that money. Grandfather asked them to buy books. So they had some doubts in them, in their mind. Let's look. Should we go now? Should we go later? Should we go today? Should we go tomorrow? We decided to go right now. So they had many doubts. They had to think when to go and they decided to go at the very moment. They were thinking when to go, now, later, today or tomorrow, and at last they decided to go at that time itself. Right? This is very simple, right? Should we go to the big market? Should we go to the small shop? Should we go with somebody? Should we go alone? We decided to go to the small shop, just the two of us. So, what is their next problem? They decided to go at that time. Then, next question, where to go to buy a book? To go either to a big market or to a small shop, or they should accompany somebody, or they should go alone. So at last they decided to go to a small shop and they decided to go at that very moment, and they decided to go just that two of them. We like the small bookshop. It is small but it has many books. The man in the shop likes us. He always helps us. Why did they choose to go to a small bookshop? They decided to go to a small bookshop because it is very small but it had many books. Although that shop is small, it consisted of many books. And the man, the shopkeeper, always helps them to choose books, or he always helps them. So they are very happy. Then what is their next doubt? Should I buy a book with a lot of pictures? Should I buy a book with lot of stories? Should I buy a thin book? I could not decide. So what happened? What is their next problem? Whether they should buy a book with lot of pictures or a story book or a book which is very thin. They could not decide. Why? They haven't seen the books. So they could not decide what should they do. Take the next. We didn't know which book to buy. The man in the shop smiled at us. Relax, come with me, he said. These books are about animals. Those are about machines. Those over there are about wars. Take what you want. So, they could not decide which kind of book they should buy. So, they were very perplexed. Then that shopkeeper, or the man in the shop, smiled at them and he gave them a description of the books in that shop. So he understood their problem. So he called them and told to be calm, to relax, and he shown them the books about animals, books about machines, the books about wars, and he gave another direction to choose among those books. I picked some books. My brother picked some books. I sat on the floor. He sat on the chair, and we read and read and read. So what happened? She picked some books and her brother took some other books, and she sat on the floor while her brother sat on the chair. They were reading those books. Take the next page. It was very quiet. There was no sound. 1 hour passed, 2 hours passed. Finally, we knew which books to buy. So, we know in a library, there will be pin drop silence. Everything will be quiet and calm. Nobody talks. Even nobody talks. So, this is a very calm place. We all like to sit and read in such a place. Have you ever been to a library? I think you have been to a library, to our school library, a place where you all like. Why? There are many storybooks and many other books, magazines, newspaper. You all like to sit and read. Similarly, these two people were sitting and reading, and for many hours they read and read. And what happened? At last they could select the books which they wanted to buy. They understood which type of books they should buy. The man in the bookshop smiled at us. I got a fat book with many stories. My brother got a big book with many pictures. So, at last, they selected the books, and the shopkeeper, the man in the shop, was very happy. He smiled at them, and what did she buy? She bought a fat book with many stories. It was not a thin book, it was a fat book with many stories. And her brother bought a big book with many pictures. She bought a story book while her brother